Hello, student and viewers. Myself, Professor Ashok Kumar, and I am working in Department of Mechanical Engineering at Dr. Subhash Technical Campus. Today's lecture we are going to discuss, and the chapter is Heat Engine Part 1. This chapter basically comes in first year degree engineering syllabus. The subject is Basic Mechanical Engineering. So let's start with this chapter title, Heat Engine. Point number one that we are going to discuss is an introduction. Heat engine is the kind of prime mover that is made to utilize heat energy for conversion into mechanical work. That means any mechanical device or even machines which utilize heat energy and convert that heat energy into mechanical work, definitely it will be known as a heat engine, or we can say that the thermal prime mover. Basically, this is the kind of converting machine. It converts one form of energy into another form of useful energy or work output. So over here, in case of heat engine, the form of the fuel in terms of heat energy is get converted into rotational energy. That means the mechanical work. So if you are finding anywhere that there is a machine which converting the heat energy of fuel into mechanical work or mechanical energy, it will be none other than heat engines. Look at the screen. You have given three simple example wherein heat engine is being used. Left hand side, there is an IC engine, which we are using it inside our two-wheeler, three-wheeler, or heavy-loaded vehicles. In particular, that internal combustion engine, that means IC engine, the fuel is entered inside the piston and cylinder assembly, wherein due to high pressure pulses or due to sparking, the ignition is taken place over there. And due to that ignition of that particular fuel may be either the petrol, diesel, or gas, the combustion takes place inside it, and which results into the heat energy produced with high pressure pulses. So the heat energy that having the higher pressure energy, it will pushing the pistons to move in the downward direction. So ultimately, heat energy goes to piston move from top dead center to bottom dead center, and by arrangement like piston with the connecting rod and crankshaft and few more parts, ultimately this reciprocating motion of piston is then converted into rotational motion. That means the mechanical energy or mechanical work. Similar example you might have seen in case of sea vehicles, that means marine vehicles. In case of ship or any marine vehicle, we are using IC engine, or we can use the steam engine too. So in that particular case, in order to propel all sea vehicles, we need some external force, external mechanical energy. So in that case, if you are using steam engine in marine vehicle, high pressure of steam, which pushing the piston to move, and that movement of reciprocating movement of piston will get converted into rotational motion of propeller of that ship. So ultimately, we can say that the ship vehicle is also a kind of the example of heat engine. Then third example of engine, such type of engine we are using in steam engine in railway locomotive. So over there, look at the diagram. There is a combustion of fuel which is taking place in that particular combustion chamber. Whatever the flue gases that is produced due to combustion of this coal as a fuel, it will be transferred its heat to the water present inside the tubes, and due to absorption of heat by the water from these flue gases, water is get converted into steam, and this steam contains high pressure and temperature. So ultimately this high pressure and temperature steam move and force, pushing force to piston. Piston will move in downward direction. It will be connected with the connecting and crank rod mechanism. So ultimately, uh, steam engine, or we can say that the locomotive will move in either direction. So this is the third example. It's very simple and sober to understand the examples of heat engine. Other name of the heat engine is known as a prime mover. But over here, all that types of heat engine, the basic function is just to convert the chemical energy of fuel, which is produced due to combustion of fuel. So chemical energy is first converted into heat energy, and from that heat energy, it is converted into finally mechanical energy. So here there is a two-step of energy conversion: chemical to heat energy, and heat energy to mechanical energy. This heat engine, typically IC engine or external combustion engine, are being used in various places in order to run our regular vehicles like bike, car, buses, trucks, aeroplanes, etc. It is used also in household appliances too. That means if you require to run your compressor, your refrigerator, you may have the option to supply the power from the IC or EC engine to that appliances. So it can be also used to run the household appliances too. It has and it is playing very much important role in the field of communication and transportation, because we know that in order to transport the luggage or the any uh, materials from one place to other place, still today we are using a large amount of the IC engine or large content that is being transferred from by the use of an IC engine. Few example of the heat engine is that internal combustion engine, steam engine, steam turbine, gas turbine, rocket are some common example of heat engine. Now, after that, it is very important to discuss the elementary part of heat engine. Basically, a heat engine has four main parts. Suppose you require to divide your heat engine in numbers of parts, then there are basically four parts. First one is the heat source, other is the working medium, third one is the converting machine, and last one is the heat sink. So ultimately, your heat engine is divided by these four basic elements. So starting with the heat source, but before heat source, look at the diagram. This is the symbolic diagram of heat engine, in which you can see that there are basically four elements or parts. This is heat source, this is heat sink, this is a converting machine, or we can say that the mechanism. And over here, whatever the quantity of the medium that is being passed and help to absorb and reject the heat, it will be a working medium. So we should to start with the first and most important part of heat engine, that is the heat source. Generally, heat source, it is a combustion chamber where combustion of fuel takes place. As we have already discussed in case of IC engine, in case of external combustion engine, there is a place where the combustion of fuel takes place and large amount of heat is liberated. So such a place where combustion is taking place and heat energy produced is known as a heat source. And it continuously supply whatever the heat produced due to combustion to the working medium. This is its essential characteristics of heat source. After that, there is a working medium. When any gas or mixture of gases or even vapor is used in engine for transferring heat, it is known as a working medium. That means definitely you have produced heat in heat source, but whatever the amount of heat that is being produced is required to transfer to other medium, and that particularly medium that you have chosen is absorbed and reject whenever required the amount of heat. So that kind of the work or the function is carried out by working medium. So working medium may be the gas, maybe the vapor, maybe the mixture of gas and vapor whatsoever. But the basic function of that particular working medium is to absorb and reject the heat whenever required. So it is absorb, store, transfer heat whenever required, and during heat absorption and rejection, it may quite possible that it's some physical property like pressure, volume, and temperature might be changed. Third, an important element of heat engine is the converting machine. Basically, it converts the heat energy into mechanical energy. That we have already seen in case of the definition whenever we have discussed in introduction. In that portion, we have already covered that the heat engine convert the heat energy to mechanical energy. So over here, heat engine required the converting machine, and through this converting machine, heat energy is converted into mechanical work. But the way of this conversion may be differ. For example, in case of your internal combustion engine, there is a piston and cylinder assembly. Due to high pressure pulses, a piston will move up and down, and ultimately the rotational energy, or we can say that the mechanical energy, we receive at the end. If we are taking an example of external combustion engine like steam engine or steam turbine, at that time what happens? Particularly fuel that we require to burn or combustion or ignition, it takes place outside that particular piston and cylinder or turbine assembly. So due to that combustion, first of all, heat is transferred to working medium. Working medium may be the steam or gas or vapor whatsoever. So steam or gas or even vapor absorbs that heat from the combustion chamber that is carried out outside the steam, outside the piston and cylinder assembly. And this steam contains the high pressure and volume will move and enter in the turbine assembly or steam cylinder and piston assembly. So I want to say that the way of the converting is maybe the different. In case of IC engine, whatsoever the fuel is combustion, fuel combustion is taking place inside the piston and cylinder, whereas in case of external combustion engine, the fuel is taking place outside the piston cylinder or turbine assembly. Now, fourth is the heat sink. Generally, after absorption of heat by the working medium or after absorption of the pressure and heat energy from the converting machine, the remaining heat or the content or amount of heat is required to be discharged from the working medium. So sink is a place where heat is to be discharged at the end of thermodynamic cycle. So sink is the last elements at which the remaining portion or remaining amount of heat is to be rejected there. So dear friend, this was the elemental discussion of particularly heat engine. That means the various elements uh, which are essential in order to run heat engine. After that, point number three, that is the classification of heat engine. And this portion we have already discussed in previous slide. Heat engine basically classified in two ways. One heat engine known as an external combustion engine, and other one is internal combustion heat engine. We are going to start with external combustion engine, and best example of external combustion engine is our steam power plant, or we can say that gas power plant. We can also say the nuclear power plant, etc. So look at the screen. You have given one steam power plant. Look at, there is a boiler, there is a turbine, there is a condenser, and finally it has a pump. So ultimately, external combustion engine, what I have discussed earlier, in case of external combustion engine, heat is produced outside the converting machine. That means this is a converting machine which converts the heat energy into mechanical energy like that. Over here, uh, there is a mechanical work to be produced at the end. So the whatever the fuel that you are using for the combustion and production of heat, it takes place outside the converting machine. That means in this case, boiler is there. We are using boiler for the producing heat from the fuel. So whatsoever heat is produced is being transferred to working medium, and working medium is generally circulating inside the numbers of tubes like that. So suppose there is a water as a working medium, and it will absorb the heat produced from the combustion of fuel. Water will become dry or superheated steam, and that steam contain high pressure and temperature and enters into the converting machine. We can say that in turbine. So ultimately turbine get rotated due to high pressure and temperature, and mechanical work as output we are getting from the turbine shaft. Now at the end, from the exhaust or outlet of the turbine, now the steam has low pressure and temperature. It is required to convert into the liquid form. So condenser we are using. In particular condenser, there are numbers of tubes in which this low pressure and temperature steam from the turbine is circulating around that particular tubes. Cold water will get entered. It will absorb the heat from the tubes, uh, which contains the low pressure and low temperature steam. And at the end, water that is entered having the less low temperature will by absorbing the heat from that particular steam, it will become warm, and at the outlet of the turbine, outlet of the condenser, water get warm, temperature of water become high, and it will be discharged. Now, at the outlet of condenser, there is a liquid form of working medium, that means water, and it's required to pump again to enter in the turbine. So this is simple working circuit of any external combustion engine. Basically, in case of external combustion engine, combustion product is transferred to working medium in such a way that what we have discussed. Steam engine, steam turbine, gas turbine are few example wherein such type of external combustion engine. Now in particular that external combustion engine, combustion chamber is first filled with a mixture of air and fuel, and that after it will be ignited. And whatever the heat produced is transferred to working medium through a wall, or we can say the heat exchanger, or in a simple, there are numbers of tubes through which heat is being transferred. Then after internal combustion engine, this type of engines we have discussed a lot in this video lecture. But in short, such type of engines require combustion of fuel inside the converting machine. That means piston and cylinder assembly. Look at the diagram, left hand side you have given one gas turbine, open cycle gas turbine, in which particularly we can say that there is a compressor which produces high pressure air. It will move into combustion chamber, and ultimately due to ignition we are getting mechanical work. Similarly, you can also take an example of an IC engine. Look at the right hand side diagram that we are using in our bike or car, or even heavy loaded vehicles. So combustion takes place inside the converting machine, that means piston and cylinder assembly, and in that way we have the mechanical work. So in short, we can say that whatever the combustion product like flue gases is directly utilized to convert mechanical work in case of IC engine. There will be no any other kind of working medium required, like gas, like water, like vapor, like steam. Whatsoever the amount of gases, flue gases that are produced from the combustion of fuel is directly used to convert its pressure energy into mechanical energy. This is the essential characteristic of an IC engine. Generally, fuel and air mixture is ignited either by a spark plug or due to compression temperature. In case of petrol engine, we know that due to sparking through spark plug, we are igniting the air and fuel mixture, whereas in case of diesel engine, due to high pressure ratio, there is a high temperature of air, and due to that self-ignition temperature of air, ignition takes place in case of diesel engine. If we are talking about a few example of an IC engine, then petrol engine, diesel engine, gas engine, gas turbine, open cycle are the few example of an IC engine. Now we are going to start the types of the heat engine that we have classified and discussed earlier. Point number 4, that will be covered the heat engine cycles. That means the thermodynamic cycle on which such type of heat engines are being worked. First and most important thermodynamic cycle is the Carnot cycle, and its founder name is Sadi Nicholas Carnot, and he has founded this Carnot cycle in 1824. Basically belongs from the French. So its contribution towards this Carnot cycle, entire cycle is known as a Carnot cycle. What is said about the Carnot cycle is that no cycle can be more efficient than a reversible cycle operating between the same temperature limit. Its statement is like that if you have any engine and working between same temperature limit, then no cycle or no any other cycle which is comparable with the reversible cycle which work between the same temperature limit. That means reversible cycle is the most efficient cycle among all kind of thermodynamic cycle if it works between same temperature limit. This is what the statement given by Nicholas Carnot during his invention. Generally, this Carnot cycle is used for the comparison of other cycles' performance. So it is basically, we can say that the ideal cycle, and few assumption has been taken out while discussing or deriving this type of cycles performance. Number one is working fluid is taken as a perfect gas. That means during entire cycle operation, whatever the working medium that is being chosen is a perfect gas. No any other gas is required in case of the Carnot cycle operation. Second assumption is that piston and cylinder are weightless and frictionless. That means there will be no any kind of inertia effect, no any kind of friction effect, no any kind of resistance force are being set up during the thermodynamic cycle operation. Third assumption is that the piston and cylinder are perfectly insulated. That means during the thermodynamic cycle operation, during the operation of any thermodynamic processes, heat will not transfer from the sidewall of cylinder and piston. So it is perfectly insulated. There will be no heat loss around the piston and cylinder assembly. Fourth assumption what he has made is that compressions and expansion processes are reversible. That means if you are performing compression or expansion process from one state to other state, whatever the property that you look to change, same property you will achieve if you operate same processes in reverse manner. So this is what the assumption made by the Carnot, and large assumption is the heat transfer not change the temperature of source and sink. That means if you are absorbing heat from the source or you are rejecting much amount of heat to the sink, then there will be no any kind of temperature changes from the source and sink side, because source and sink are assumed to have the large space, large heat content, in which if you drop or if you receive a little bit amount of heat, there will be no change of its temperature from the source and sink. Now look at the diagram. It is the pressure and volume diagram of Carnot cycle. There are basically four process. Process A to B, that is isothermal expansion process. B to C, that is the adiabatic expansion process. C to D, that is isothermal compression process, and D to A, that is adiabatic compression process. So basically over here there are two pair of process. One is isothermal process and other is the adiabatic process. Now we should start with the isothermal expansion process, that is process number A to B, in which particularly heat is applied over here, and in that way pressure decrease and volume increase. So over here, if your isothermal expansion start from the here, and if you are measuring pressure, it will be very much high. But at the end of this process, if you are measuring the pressure like here, then we can say that pressure is going to be decreased in case of isothermal expansion. Whereas volume is VA, and at the end of this process, volume going to be increased in particular isothermal expansion process. Over here, due to expansion, piston will move from the left to right hand side. So ultimately, at the initial, or we can say that at the starting of this process, piston find its position over here, and After few times, whenever the isothermal expansion is completed, the piston may be possible that it reaches over here. So ultimately, I can say that the piston will move, or piston move from the left to right hand side. In that way, we are getting work as output. So this is what about the isothermal expansion. Now after that isothermal expansion, there is adiabatic expansion. We know that the term adiabatic refers to there will be no heat transfer. So by performing this process, there will be no any kind of transfer of heat from and within the piston and cylinder assembly. Second thing, due to expansion process, as what we have discussed in case of isothermal expansion too, pressure decreases and volume increases. Of course, you are performing expansion process, so temperature will definitely going to be decreased from TH to TC. So this is the first two process that we have discussed. After that, process number 3, that is the isothermal compression. Over here, you have to compress the working medium, but isothermally. That it clear means that during that compression process, temperature will remain constant because there is a isothermal compression, and isothermal refer to the constant temperature. So be sure that in case of isothermal compression, or even in case of isothermal expansion too, temperature will remain same or constant. Heat Q2 is rejected at temperature Tc in case of isothermal compression, as well as you are doing operation of compression, so pressure will be increased, and of course volume will be decreased in case of isothermal compression process. Now last one, fourth process that we are going to discuss, that is the adiabatic compression. Over here, once again, there is a adiabatic pressure process, so there will be no any kind of heat transfer. Due to compression, pressure increases and volume will be decreased, similar to isothermal compression. Third characteristic is the temperature due to adiabatic compression will be increased from Tc to Th. So this is what the four types of basic process that included in Carnot cycle. Now it's time to derive a relation of Carnot cycle efficiency. So first of all, just you require to calculate output, and that output and input. Over here we are supplying heat, so it will be known as a input that we have given, and output, that is the work done that we receive at the end of that thermodynamic cycle. So first of all, your calculation should start with the heat supplied, and heat supplied is equal to Q1, that is equal to P1 V1 log V2 upon V1. By simplifying that terms P1 V1, you can also put RT1 too. So ultimately your relation will become RT1 is equal to log V2 upon V1. So this is the input that as a heat supplied you have supplied to the particular Carnot cycle. Now heat rejected. Q2, that will be the heat rejected, and it is equal to P3 V3 log V4 upon V3. Once again, by simplification, you will have RT2 log V4 upon V3. Over here, if you have seen that P3 V3 is not equal to RT3. In place of T3, we have put the values of T2. This is so because uh, T3 and T2 both are same. There are basically two temperature limit, upper and lower limit. So this indicates the lower limit, T2. So in place of P3 V3 is equal to RT3, you can put the values of RT2 over here. So this is the heat rejected, and once you have calculated heat supplied and heat rejected, it's very easy to have the calculate to work done, and work done is always equal to Q1 minus Q2. That means whatever the heat you have supplied and whatever the heat you have rejected, if you are doing so, you will have the work done W. So work done W can be easily evaluated from that relation. Now efficiency is equal to work done upon heat supplied. Work done, that is output, and input is a heat supplied over here. So by putting the relevant value and solving it, you will have the R log E, R T1 minus T2, R T1 log E, R. Over here, if you've seen carefully, then there is R. Over here, you are also finding R. Basically, R, that is the we can say that compression or expansion ratio. If you are putting the values of Q1 minus Q2 over here, at the end you will have the R T1 minus T2 into log V2 upon V1, like that. So ultimately over here R stand for the compression or expansion ratio, and it will give relation of like that. So by solving that relation, ultimately you are getting T1 minus T2 upon T1. And for the simplification, it gives us a relation 1 minus T2 upon T1. So this is the equation or relation for the efficiency of Carnot cycle. Few limitations are also there with which associated with the Carnot cycle. First limitation is that it is hypothetical cycle. That means you can compare just this cycle to other. It is not possible to work in real manner. Generally, its efficiency is depends on temperature limit. That means 1 minus T1 upon T2 was the equation for efficiency. So this cycle's efficiency strictly depends on temperature limit. That means T1 and T2. There will be no any kind of role of working medium which is being used in Carnot cycle. This is the biggest limitation of Carnot cycle. Third one is friction cannot be neglected. Initially, during initial assumption while deriving this relation, we have assumed that there will be no any kind of friction between piston and cylinder wall. But in actual manner, friction is always present, so you cannot neglect it. So this was the third limitation of Carnot vapor or simple Carnot cycle. Fourth limitation is the cylinder wall is no longer perfect insulation. In fact, it is not possible to achieve perfect insulation anyway. So this is the fourth limitation. Fifth is that on the same stroke, actually you have to perform isothermal and adiabatic process in similar stroke. That means A to B and B to C should be performed within the single stroke of piston. So if you are performing isothermal operation and you require to have the constant temperature, your piston should be moving in very fast speed. Whereas in order to perform the adiabatic expansion, your piston should be move in very slow direction. So it's not possible that within the same stroke, your piston will move in very fast manner to the halfway, and remaining halfway, your piston perform very slow motion. So it is not possible, and that's why in practical application, it cannot be used anywhere. So this is the biggest limitation, limitation number 5. And last limitation, that is the output of cycle is very small. That means the efficiency, that means whatever we require work at the end is very small. Efficiency is very low. So dear student, this was about the heat engine. In this lecture, we have discussed about an introduction of heat engine. We have discussed very much about the difference, or we can say that the comparison between internal and external combustion engine. We have also classified heat engine. We have discussed about the basic elements of heat engine. And at the end, we have also discussed about the thermodynamic cycle, like Otto cycle, work on the principle of the heat engine. So this entire lecture in which we have covered about the starting or the basic portion of heat engine. Next lecture we will discuss remaining thermodynamic cycle, remaining types of heat engine. I hope that you through this my video lecture uh, you will have the boosting of your technical knowledge, especially in terms of heat engine. If still you are finding or you have the confusion about any theories or the topics or subtopics, let me inform. We should have a discussion and solution too. Kindly stay tuned with my video lectures. Thank you for your kind of patience for this my entire video lecture. Thank you very much.